Hey guys, this is Andre. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, we'll talk about the book Good to Great, written by James Collins and first published in 2001. This is a non-fiction book for managers and CEOs who want to take their companies from good to great. Please take a minute to read the disclaimer, and if you agree with all the terms and conditions, let's go. We will start with a brief introduction about the book, and then we'll talk about the three different stages in which the author divides this process when you go from a good company to a great company. So you have to go through a process of disciplined people, disciplined thought, and disciplined action. We will later find out that according to the author, this is the only way that this transition will work. Some companies will try to go directly to the action without giving any importance to thought or people, and this is why they will fail or they will not be able to sustain the quality of being a great company through a long period of time. Now, the author and his team of researchers gathered data about 11 companies that made it from good to great. And according to them, a great company is measured by having more than 3 times the average market returns over at least 15 years. This data was gathered from public articles published about the companies and their CEOs or managers, and also through direct interviews, in which the team asked questions relevant to the findings in the book and whatever the available data was not enough to show. The author and his team observed 6 traits in all these 11 companies that made from good to great, and these traits were present to some extent. Some of them have a little bit more, some of them had a little bit less, but nonetheless, these traits were always present, and these observations were backed up by the data. For comparison purposes, the author also lists different companies, what they call comparison companies, which are good companies or companies that did not manage to sustain the leap from good to great or did not manage to be great for more than 15 years. And throughout the book, the author shows that these companies are the way they are because they failed to meet one of those 6 traits that are all present in those 11 companies that were able to make from good to great and were able to sustain their culture their management style, the way they treat people, the way they treat the community, what do they care about, what do their products care about, and so on for over 15 years. And this figure here summarizes the good to great process. This figure was extracted from the book Good to Great by James Collins, and it shows how this process should work in a sustainable way. There is this build-up phase in which the companies have to invest their resources and their time and their money into dealing with disciplined people. This is the basis for greatness, for success, and for high revenue. And once you get disciplined people, you have to start working towards disciplined thought. And finally, disciplined action. This process will not work in any other way. This is most of the time a slow process, and it has to build up over time. It's a step-by-step process that takes discipline and will take some time until you see concrete results. But once you are able to set the basis of the process, once you are able to hire disciplined people and get disciplined people working for a company, and once you start installing a disciplined thought policy, you will slowly see that something is happening. You see that the employees are more motivated, you see that revenues are getting higher and higher and you get more profit. You see the market price of your stock going higher and higher. And all of a sudden, this company that used to be good and average starts to break through and show its greatness. In the following slides, we'll talk a little bit more about each of the steps. So let's start with disciplined people. The first topic is what the author calls level 5 leadership. This is one of the 6 traits that all of the 11 research companies share in common. They have a level 5 leader, a level 5 CEO. So what kind of leader is this? A level 5 leader is a person capable of personal humility and professional will. So on one hand, they are not egocentric. They don't care about personal accomplishment. They don't care about the salary. They don't care about an awesome house or a very fast car. While on the other hand, they will do what it takes to get their company going. They will fight against hostile takeovers. They will fire people who are not working to their fullest potential. They will not be afraid to make decisions that may seem wrong or may make stockholders and stock analysts downgrade the stock or talk negative things about this particular CEO or about this company in order to make sure the company will survive in the future. So although they are humble, they are not afraid to fight for what matters for them. They have this ambition for the company and not for themselves. And for them, what they build is more important than what they get. And regarding how level 5 leaders manage people, there is this mirror versus window analogy. So level 5 leaders will look through the window to give credit. They will credit the people who worked hard. They will credit a fortuitous environment in the industry. They will credit the government, or they will credit luck. And they will look at the mirror when bad things happen. They will assume the blame. They will say that it was their fault for making a wrong decision. And they will even highlight the people who told him not to make it. Whereas other kind of leaders will do exactly the opposite. They look at the mirror to assign credit. They will say that everything that's going well and right is because of themselves. And they will look through the window to assign blame. They will never say that a mistake was their fault. It's always someone or something else. And the first step to create a great company is to start with a level 5 leader. The next step on disciplined people is to find the right people. So who are those? When a great company wants to hire these right people, their selection method will be based on character as well as on specific educational background, skills, and work experience. Because when people in a company, especially in the management levels, know each other and like each other and can respect each other, they will work better. The company should have rigorous standards at all times and at all levels. So there is no nepotism, hiring people who don't perform that well, or protecting people that don't perform that well. And these people, especially those in the management level, should debate and argue to find the best answer. But once one answer is found, they should fully unify behind this decision, regardless of their own personal interests. And financial compensation is about finding the right people and not rewarding the wrong people for making the right decisions. So the basis of a great company is a level 5 leader that can manage and lead the right people. People with character who are behind the company's values and want to make a difference for it. And now we get to the second stage, disciplined thought. The first topic is confront the facts. So the author talks about the Stockdale paradox. Commander Stockdale was a Navy commander who became a war prisoner in the Vietnam War. He spent 7 years of his life as a prisoner, and throughout this time, he and his soldiers were able to live through the 7 years because they had these two thoughts in mind. First, they accepted the brutal facts of reality. They accepted the torture. They accepted that they didn't have enough food. They accepted that they were far away from family and friends. And they accepted that they could be killed at any moment. And on the other hand, they had this unwavering faith in the end game. They knew somehow that things would be fine in the end. So they had the strength to persevere, to not to give up, and to go through all the bad things they are going through. until they were finally released and were able to go back to their country and to their families. When you're managing a company, you should base all of your decisions on the facts. Do not sugarcoat anything. Do not come up with lies, or do not hide and manipulate data to get to a certain conclusion, because the truth will eventually come out. And the second topic is the hedgehog principle. The author tells the author writes about a little story about the hedgehog and the fox. So there is this fox who was always trying to create elaborate plans to attack and eat the hedgehog, and every single day the fox would think on different ways, to take the hedgehog by surprise, and the fox would spend all its time by doing this, by making new plans, by trying to come up with different alternatives to attack the hedgehog. While on the other hand, the hedgehog would go on about his life. It would just eat and walk around and, do hedgehog things. And every time, every day the fox attacked the hedgehog would just, turn into this little ball full of spikes, and the fox would not be able to hurt the hedgehog. And on the other hand, it would get hurt itself. And then the fox would have to give up its plan and go back to think in a different way to attack. And in this analogy, the hedgehog always wins. The hedgehog is able to go on with its life. It's not worried about the fox's attacks, because it knows that whatever attack the fox come up with, the hedgehog can defend itself. And this picture defines the hedgehog principle applied to great companies. This was also extracted from the book Good to Great by James Collins. So what is the hedgehog principle? It's the intersection of three cycles. First one, what you are deeply passionate about. Second one, what you can be the best in the world at. And third one, what drives your economic engine. So the concept, the idea or ideal or the game plan that comes up from analyzing the intersection of these three circles creates what the author calls a hedgehog principle. And this principle is something all great companies base all their decisions on. The hedgehog principle will help you determine what you can be the best at, so you can focus 100% of your energy on that, and will also help determine what you cannot be the best at, so you can completely disregard these things, because you are just spending your energy effortless. And by doing so, you will never make the transition from good to great. And now we are done with disciplined thought, and we are ready to move on to disciplined action. The first topic is the culture of discipline. Managers and employees should have freedom within a framework. They should be held accountable for their mistakes, but not to assign blame or point fingers, but rather to learn the most the company can from those mistakes and then move on, so that those mistakes will not happen again. A company with a culture of discipline has less bureaucracy, so processes can move on faster, and people who are performance driven are not discouraged by losing time. And in this framework, budgeting should not be used to decide where or how you allocate your money, but rather to determine which areas should be funded and which shouldn't, all based on the hedgehog principle. Because, as the author says, the most effective investment strategy is a highly undiversified portfolio when you're right. And when your decisions are aligned with your hedgehog concept, you can be pretty sure that you are right. Finally, the final topic is technology. Technology is something that accelerates momentum but doesn't build it on itself. Thoughtless reliance on technology is a liability, not an asset. Many companies fail or have huge losses because they rely too much on technology, and they are just reacting out of fear. Fear of missing out, fear of what the customer or competition will say or do. But great companies are able to harness technology that are perfectly aligned with their hedgehog concept to accelerate the momentum they have built in investing money, time, and effort in hiring the right people, having a disciplined mindset and thought, and finally taking a disciplined action. And I'll finish the video showing you guys this picture one more time. The process as described by James Collins from going to good to great. First of all, this is a slow process that involves the build-up phase and the breakthrough phase. It starts with disciplined people by having the level 5 leadership and then hiring the right people. Then it goes through disciplined thought by confronting the facts and finding out what your hedgehog concept is. And it ends with disciplined action through a culture of discipline and using technology to accelerate the momentum that has been built up to now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.